Hello, I'm Matteo, the Chief Mobile Opinionist here at Tech Travel Geeks, and this is the Tech Travel Geeks walkthrough of my setup for the Honor Magic 4 Pro. This is a review device provided by Honor, and as you can see I've got a not for sale sticker on the back of the phone. Thanks to Honor for providing us with this sample device and inviting us to the launch. If you check out the Tech Travel Geeks YouTube channel, you will see that we already have a first impressions video out about this device. We also have our unboxing, and as I said, this is the setup video. And as with all smartphones, the first thing I usually do is identify at the bottom where that SIM tray is, use the SIM ejector tool, in this case the one provided with the Honor Magic 4 Pro, open it up, and I'm going to have a look at that SIM tray. This is SIM 2's slot, and this is SIM 1 slot. In this case, I'm going to pop SIM 1 in. There we go. And then pop this in this SIM tray. Now you can see there's a little bit of rubber finishing there in red at the top. That means that there is some waterproofing and dust resistance on the Honor Magic 4 Pro. So it is IP68 dust and water resistant up to 1.5 meter for 30 minutes. So that's pretty decent. But let's start off using the power button on the right hand side of the device and long press it and turn that screen on. Now this is a lovely OLED screen as we saw in our unboxing video. In this case, it is a Quad HD Plus display, which means it's 1300 pixels wide and 2848 high. Actually, specifically, it is 1312 pixels wide. And as you can see, Magic UI. So this is Honor's Android distribution, based on Android, where we're going to get set up. So I'm going to go with English. I'm in the United Kingdom. I trust Honor with my data. I'm now going to connect to my Wi-Fi. So first impressions of typing are very, very positive. There's no haptic feedback on by default, but we'll get into that in a bit more detail later once we start looking at settings. So I'm now connected to my Wi-Fi network. Let's get the phone ready. This may take a few minutes. So that 6.8 inch display, as you can see, is an OLED screen. It's curved at the sides. It's also slightly curved at the top and the bottom. It's lovely to look at. And it also has a screen protector pre-installed. That's particularly noticeable around the selfie camera. Yes, that cutout pill at the top is a selfie camera cutout, which has two sensors in there, but only one of them is an actual camera, which means there's a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera, and there's also a time of flight sensor. So I'm not going to copy any data over. The Honor Magic 4 feels really nice to hold. That curved glass back, in this case in the cyan color, and the front is very pleasant. And because this device has Google services as part of the setup, I'm going to sign in. Here we go, I'm agreeing to the Google Terms of Service. Now, the usual Google services, I'm going to go for them all. And I have to say, everything's really, really fast here. We're now in the search engine ballot screen on Android. You get to choose which search engine powers your device, is the default on your device. In this case, we're going to go with Google. And now we're going to go through the setup for the Google Assistant. I agree to this, and I've already done this a few times, so Google doesn't need my voice print anymore, I don't think. And now it's suggesting you can access your assistant without unlocking your device. I agree. This is particularly useful in situations where, for example, you don't have access to your phone, you might be driving. It's quite useful there. And data and privacy, okay. Let's set up fingerprint ID. But before that, we'll probably need to set up passphrase or pattern. In this case, it's asking us to set up a PIN number. Okay then, so now I'm going to add my thumbprint. And there's a note here saying that the accuracy of the fingerprint sensor may be affected if you're using a third-party screen protector. Since I'm not, I'm using the factory pre-installed one, I'm sure it will be fine. So long press, and it's starting to get my fingerprint. Now these graphics in Magic UI may look very familiar to those of you who have used Huawei devices in the last few years. Obviously, Magic UI, in this case Magic UI 6, is a continuation, a fork of MUI, Huawei's Android distribution. And it's familiar, it's comfortable, it's quite pleasant to be back there. So okay, fingerprint 1 has been added. Let's set up face recognition. It seems to not be liking my face in this lighting environment. Let me just change the settings of my light bulb. Okay then, so that setup is complete. It was quite thorough. Magic UI provides enhanced services. Let's enable all services. Let's join the user improvements program and location services, all of them. And now it's walking us through navigation setup. This looks quite familiar to the one on the Honor 50. If you haven't already seen that, we'd have a series of videos on Tech Travel Geeks about the Honor 50, including our long-term review. So let's try gestures. It's essentially taking us through a walkthrough of gesture navigation, which I'm starting to get quite comfortable with. But you may prefer the older button-based navigation. But it's all working as expected. There we go, multitasking. So great, let's go with gesture navigation. And here we are, we're on the home screen. That Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 is obviously very fast because there's pretty much no flicker, no waiting for things to happen there. It just loaded, which is great. So let's have a look what's pre-installed. We have obviously the usual Google folder here. The usual apps are already pre-installed, Google Play Store. There is My Honor, the Honor Gallery app, Honor Club, and a series of other apps, but most notably Booking.com, great app for booking hotels and searching for hotels. TikTok, Netflix, all apps I'm happy with. There's Trip.com, TrainPal, and WPS Office. Let's see what it's like to uninstall one of these pre-installed apps. What happens if I long press? You immediately get a prompt to uninstall. You can tap on that. And there you go, app uninstalled. So let's try TrainPal as well. If I'm not mistaken, TrainPal is actually owned by Trip.com. So there we go, uninstalled, no problems. And so if you want to get rid of the uninstalled apps, you can do so. Good to see. Right, so the home screen is pretty simple. By default, the Honor Magic 4 Pro doesn't have an app drawer. But let's see if that's changeable in the settings. So display and brightness, so you can have light mode or dark mode. I prefer dark mode, let's turn that on. Brightness set down a little just so that Lukash, our chief aperture officer, can edit this video slightly more easily. So you can adjust text and display size, color mode and temperature. Okay, so the settings for the app drawer are not in the display settings. Let's try setting that up here. Home screen settings. So 4x6 layout, auto line, show card bar, Google Discover. Interesting. I'm not seeing any settings for going for the app drawer. Not to worry. You can also change the transitions between things, so default or perspective or squeeze or box. This reminds me of my distro hopping days of Linux. So you've got like a cube. There we go. So the panel keeps your Google Discover tab on the left, and then you can swap through your screens there. We've already set dark mode here, home screen and wallpaper. Here we go. We've found what I think I was looking for. So you can adjust themes, magazine unlock, wallpaper icon, home screen settings, home screen style. That's what I was looking for. So home screen style, I'm going to go with the app drawer version. So that means I swipe up to get an app drawer, and I only have the apps I really want on the home screen. So let's personalize that a bit. Let's have a look at the wallpapers first. Home screen and wallpaper, there we go. So let's change the wallpaper, see what the pre-installed ones are like. We've got my wallpapers, nature. Oh, these are nice. Very nice aerial shots of various things. I like this one. And the great thing about Magic UI, it also offers you the option in the actual launcher to blur your wallpaper. So sometimes sharp wallpapers will take away from the readability of the icons on your home screen. If you want to avoid that, you can blur your wallpaper and then set it on both home screen and lock screen. So if I go back to the home screen, you can still, despite that white on the settings icon, you can still read settings there. So that's very useful for making your phone more usable. So the menu system is very, very similar in Magic UI to what we saw on the Honor 50. It's a very simple, functional UI for the menu system. Let's double check and see if there's any OS updates, software update. So this is Magic UI 6.0. It's currently up to date, but we are just under a week away from the official launch in Western Europe. We will be at the launch in London. Check out our first impressions video there. Let's see what's happening in the Google Play Store, how the updates are going there. So 25 updates pending. Let's see how quickly the Honor Magic 4 Pro's storage, in this case 256 gigabytes of storage, handles these updates on my fast home Wi-Fi. That's a lot of apps. Let's see what other messaging we have here. A few emails, a few text messages. So I've just put in a new SIM card. That's great to see. And it's suggesting we finish the Google completion of our setup. I'm not sure what's going on here. There's no text telling me. There must be too much stuff going on in the background, but I think most of the settings are done. What we'll also do is install a few apps that I think are useful to me. So the first one is Gboard. So the default keyboard on the Honor Magic 4 Pro is Microsoft's SwiftKey. You'll see that here. I have the SwiftKey keyboard, and on the spacebar you've got SwiftKey. It will also be one of the apps installing in the background. In terms of functionality, it is a well-rounded keyboard, which some people really, really like, but I have to say I do prefer Google's offering with Gboard, which is now in my installation queue. Let's have a look at other Google apps that I do use. So Google Keep is one of those. It's how I take notes and share them as well. I quite enjoy that. Other apps, I'm definitely going to put Amazon Prime Video. I am definitely going to put the Trainline app because we're going to be going to the Honor Magic 4 Pro launch next week, and we'll be handling our tickets through Trainline. So to get through barriers, you use the app, and that's going to be fun. Edinburgh to King's Cross. In my case, It's actually going to be Livingston North to King's Cross. Other apps. Facebook Messenger, yep. Definitely speak to people there. Amazon Photos, yes. Happy with that. Unlimited storage. Twitter, definitely another one I'll install. BBC News. TikTok, it's already installed. I think we can skip Skype this time. So that's a few apps started, but let's focus on Amazon for a while. Amazon do a lot of really good apps, as well as the standard shopping one. They have Amazon Music, a great music service. If you are an Amazon Prime subscriber, you get a lot of good benefits from that. I'm not seeing any details. Here we go. Other apps from Amazon. Well, the A one, I'm not going to say her name because it will set off not just my digital assistant, but likely yours as well if you have one in the room. So we're going to install Amazon Music, Amazon Prime Video, Photos, Kindle. I will definitely be using the Honor Magic 4 Pro a lot, so it's likely going to be put through its paces. Amazon Drive, another great benefit for Amazon Prime users in the UK. Great, so we've done that. Let's search for Facebook apps, or just Instagram for now, since we're already installing Messenger. We also want to install Telegram, which is how I communicate with many of my friends. And let's have a check on what the text messaging app. So obviously instant messaging is a really important part of any smartphone's use, but this seems to be using the Google Messages app, which is RCS enabled, enables chat over internet, and it seems to be going through. So I have now verified the app and it works. So good to see that. So that's for traditional text messages, but there's more installing in the background. So let's have a look at other settings in Magic UI. We've got Magic UI 6 here, which is based on Android 12, so the latest version of Android at time of publishing. So you can change the time, that's Android 12. Storage, how it handles the inbuilt storage, the 256 gigabytes. Only 25 are used as it comes out of the box. And obviously I've uninstalled a few, but they've also installed a few extra. So you get a decent amount of storage built in. Battery, obviously it's now at 35%, it's just come out of the box. I will be trying this out with a super fast charger. So to do that, I really need to run the battery down a little bit more. Now, whilst this is all going on in the background, I believe Play Store has finished installing most apps. I'm also going to install the Adobe Creative Cloud apps. So we'll start off with just my account management, but we're going to go for Adobe Premiere Rush for videos, Photoshop Express for photo editing, Lightroom Mobile. I obviously subscribe to Adobe Creative Cloud, which means that essentially I get all the apps included in my subscription. Photoshop Mix, and for now we'll stop at that. What else? Snapseed, which is another great app, and I think we'll stop for now. I think I've got all the main apps set up, and thank you for watching this quick setup video of the Honor Magic 4 Pro. Now do be subscribed to Tech Travel Geeks, have that notification bell on. We're going to be doing a series of videos from here on in on the Magic 4 Pro, on its cameras, on its capabilities. It is really a very shiny device with very capable cameras and specs, and more importantly, all the computing power to do a lot in a creative manner. And as I said, we'll be doing some dedicated videos here on the Tech Travel Geeks YouTube channel, some of them filmed on the Honor Magic 4 Pro. So thanks for watching, and goodbye from me.